Hey everyone, welcome to investor.bet's NRL Round 2 Try Scorer Preview video. Here I'm going to go through 18 players that I've shortlisted as potential bets for Round 2 to score a try this week. I'm going to go through the reasons why I've shortlisted these players and why I think they're likely to score a try. So then when you're doing your research and picking your try scorers for this week, you have these factors to consider from the NRL Bet Finder software. Last week, we hit 3 of our 4 try scorers. And, obviously I'm not going to be backing all 18 of these this week. This is just the first step that I go through as part of my research process, not just for NRL, but for everything that I bet on, all sports, horse racing. I go through and shortlist everything that I feel like could be a potential bet, and then go through and cull that list to the ones that I'm most confident about. If you back everything that you even have a slight thought of considering betting onto, then you're probably going to lose money. You want to make sure you have filters that you go through when choosing your bets. So then you're making sure that you're only getting the best of the best, not just lots and lots of best. Because if you do that, the betting companies are going to beat you because of their margins and the percentages that they have in play. Your biggest asset as a bettor is you don't have to bet into every game or make lots of bets on a single game. You get to pick and choose when you bet. The betting companies, they have to put up odds for every single event, and there's hundreds of different markets on each game. You get to just go through, pick and choose where you want to bet. I kind of look at it like you're a sniper. You just get to go through, make your shots in those moments where you have the best advantage. But a lot of people bet like they're holding a machine gun, and just, you sometimes see screenshots of people's betting accounts and there'll be 20, 30, 40 pending bets in their bet slip. If that's something that you're kind of known to do, then just lowering that, first of all, will probably make a big difference to your overall results. So with this preview, we're going to go through the first 6 games. The game's on Sunday. I'm not super keen on any players in either of those. So going to leave those out for the time being. And, this weekend, there are a lot of games with very high totals. I think of the 8 games, we're looking at 5 or 6 games with the total is moved up to at least 50 points. So compared to round 1, we're seeing much higher totals this time around. And also we've got a bit more information on these sides, where teams are playing and, which side of the field players are playing on. If you are a member of the NRL Best Bets membership, you'll see in there's a new sheet that I've added showing you everywhere or every position each player is playing in the centers and wings. Spoken about last year where, when you look at the team list and a player is listed as number 2, doesn't mean they're going to play on the right wing. And just like if they're number 3, doesn't mean they're going to play right center. Half the teams play the number 2 on the right wing, half the teams play the number 2 on the left wing, or very, very close to that. So there is a new sheet in the bet finders that tells you for all the wingers and centers which side of the field they are playing on. So it's very, very easy. You don't need to go back through and try and look, which side of the field are they going to be going on, or who are they going to be matching up against in defense. So that sheet will show you, as if you're standing behind their attack or defensive line, and which side of the field players are on. So then you can match it up against. So, if there is a player out, and they're not going to be defending that right center position, you can definitely be looking at the left center for that opposition player as a potential good option, especially if they already struggle there and now they have a reserve player coming in. Just, as a quick example. Let's start looking at the games for this week, starting with the Knights versus Dolphins. This is a game that, even though we have a high total, I am kind of leaning towards it being a touch low scoring. Neither side is that a great of an attacking side. Dolphins have glimpses, here and there, but as a general rule, they're both average or below attacking sides and fairly strong defenses, especially for the Knights. Now, for the Knights, there's only 2 players I have shortlisted for this game, one from each side. Now, the easy option for the Knights is looking at the wings. They're the 2 players that are shortest in the market. You have Greg Marzhew and James Schiller on the wings for Newcastle. However, last season, the Dolphins were one of the better defenses at defending opponent wingers. Now, with Jack Bostock, it's not in the side at the moment. So that opens it up a little bit for the right wing for Newcastle. However, they did rank 15th in that position last season. But for the Knights, The one player that does stand out a little bit for this game is the right center. So that's Dane Gagai. He's playing $3.70 or so currently to score a try. He's had 4 games against the Dolphins and only scored a try in one of them, which was early last season. But does get, one of the better matchups for Newcastle in this game. See, the Dolphins conceded the 13th most tries to opponent right centers last season. So, this is one of the better matchups. Newcastle last year scored a majority of their tries through the 2 center positions. And, as we can see here, the Dolphins are pretty good at defending left centers, but not so great against the right center. So Gagai is the first player I have shortlisted for this game. And then the other one is on the Dolphins side of the field. I think they should push a lot of their attack towards the left edge. Even though, last season they averaged the most tries through the right center. The Knights defend that side of the field very well, but they're not good at defending opponent left centers and left wingers. As I mentioned, Bostock's out of the side. And I think, if they are going to push their play towards that left edge, that brings Jake Averillo into play. He's paying $3.75 to score a try in this game. And he did score a try 2 back against Newcastle. And overall for Averillo, if we look back through last season and then the opening game of this year, he has scored a try in 42% of games. So a fairly good record, especially for a player paying, $3.75. So of the two, he'd be the one that I'd slightly more so lean to in the opening game. Onto the Warriors. Seagulls have 4 players shortlisted, and they're all for Manly. Warriors attack was really, really poor against Canberra, and I just want to, see how they play against Manly before, backing any try scorers for the Warriors. Their attack was very, very disjointed. Obviously, if you look at this, last season they pushed a lot of their play towards the right wing, but no Dallin Watene-Zelezniak currently in the lineup, so that kind of takes that out of play a little bit. So it's not ideal for New Zealand, but for Manly, there are a few ways I'm looking at going. So firstly, at fullback, they scored the most tries last season through that position, and that's Tom Trbojevic playing fullback, which we all know. And against the Warriors, he has scored 5 tries across his past 5 games against them. And the Warriors do concede the 14th most tries to opponent fullbacks. It's definitely a good matchup for Trbojevic. He's paying $1.75 to score a try. I think that's definitely a good option. I'll also be looking towards the left edge for Manly. As you can see, the Warriors don't defend either the left center or left winger very well at all. So you have Lehigh Hapawati on the left wing for Manly, and he's scored a try in his only game against the Warriors. He's paying $1.87. And then at left center, which is the position that the Warriors conceded the most tries to of all individual positions last season. And you've got Tolu Kola playing left center for Manly, and he's paying $3.40 to score a try, which is fairly good odds, for a player, with this kind of matchup. He doesn't score that often. He hasn't scored in his 4 games against the Warriors, but does definitely get a good opportunity. And if Manly run up a score, then he should get opportunities in this game. So definitely not a bad option. On the right wing, Jason Saab is probably my only other potential try score option. I'm staying away from any of the forwards or, halves positions, as the Warriors tend to defend that well, and they do concede a lot of their tries out wide and to the backs, and that's where Manly score for the most part as well. So that's the reason why I'm targeting that. But on the right wing, you have Jason Saab, who scored 2 tries last week against the Cowboys, and also the Warriors conceded a double to Xavier Savage, who plays on the right wing for Canberra in their opening game. So Saab's definitely an option as well. He is the shortest player to score a try in this game, and he has a very, very good record against the Warriors. A total of 9 tries across the past 5 games, with 2 games where he scored 3 tries. So you could also look at him as a potential 2 try scorer at the better odds for this game. For him to score a double, is paying well over the $4 range. Then we have the Panthers versus Roosters. For this game, Penrith are big favorites, expected to win pretty dominantly, and not going to play any Roosters try scorers in this game. Last week they scored the 3. We had Dominic Young to score a try. He got 2. He was paying about $2.30, $2.35 to score. But I feel like with the Roosters last week, it came from those bit of moments of individual brilliance as opposed to, structured attack, which against the Panthers this week is going to cause them issues, and their attack's going to have to improve dramatically to score really more than 2 tries in this game. And so I don't think there's a great deal of value with any players for them to score a try. And with Dominic Young playing on the right wing, the Panthers defend that second best of all sides. Now, the Roosters conceded 50 points last week and were really poor defensively against the Broncos. Last year, they were a good defensive side. They didn't give up anything really at all to opponent right wingers, but Selwyn Cobbo scored 3 on that right wing last week. That's, goes completely against what we saw from the Roosters last year. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, Brian To'o comes back into the team for Penrith this week, playing on that right wing. Can he, buck last year's trend and score a try? He's only paying $1.45 to score. Against the Roosters, he has scored in 4 of the past 5. There's kind of 2 ways you can go with this. You can go, well, he has a good record against the Roosters. Cobbo scored and, ran up the tries on that side last week, so the Roosters' defense isn't as good. But at the same time, there's not a great deal of value in his price to score a try. I think it's just a little bit short, but wouldn't be surprised if he gets across for a try. Then over on the left wing, it is a good situation for Casey McLean over on that left-hand side. The Roosters definitely don't defend against the left wingers well at all. That was their worst position last season, so it's a good spot for Casey McLean. Once again, he's paying fairly short, only around the $1.60, but it's kind of what you got to deal with when there's teams that are big favorites. And expect one of them to cross. I wouldn't play both. Haven't 100% decided which one of the 2 I'll go with. Right now, slightly leaning towards Brian To'o, but just not sure if I want to take the price. The one player that's probably a good option as well in this game is the Panthers right center. So that's Isaac Tahoe. He scored a try in 3 of his past 4 against the Roosters. He's paying about $2.65 to score a try in this game. Looking at Tahoe, over the past 2 seasons, he scored a try in 33% of games, a total of 10 tries, and did cross for a try in round number 1 this season against the Sharks. So definitely not a bad option against this Roosters defense, even though, once again, they do defend that side of the field well. So I'm not going to be taking like all 3. I'm going to really pick which one I want to go with from the Panthers this week. I don't think, it's going to be like where the Broncos ran up a score against the Roosters, or like the Storm ran up a score against Parramatta in those games last week. And kind of like everyone got a share of the try. So just, be careful with that if you are prone to backing quite a lot of try scorers. Then we have the Dragons versus Rabbitohs. Firstly, for the Dragons, I think they should push their attack towards the left-hand side of the field. That wasn't the case last season. As you can see, their left edge combined for the second least number of tries. But this season, so we've already seen Christian Tuipulotu score 3 tries last week against the Bulldogs. And then also Valentine Holmes is playing on that left center position. Against the Rabbitohs side, who were really poor against that side of the field last year, I think the Dragons need to push their attack that way, especially, that's what they did last week, and that's looking to be where, their strengths are going to be in attack. So firstly, with Christian Tuipulotu, he did score the 3 tries last week, as I said, and has scored a try in 1 of his 2 games against South Sydney. He's currently paying $1.60 to cross for a try, and the Dragons are expected to win this game with the current odds, so I would be surprised if he doesn't cross for a try. For last season, he missed a lot of games earlier on in the year, but has scored a try in 54% of his games across last season and round 1, and a total of 11 tries all up. He has had a couple of games where he has scored 3 tries as well. And then for the Dragons, I'm definitely considering Valentine Holmes to cross for a try, get his first try in Dragons colours. 2 games back against the Rabbitohs, he scored a double when playing for the Cowboys, and overall was one of the Cowboys' best try scorers last year, scoring try in 48% of games. So I wouldn't be surprised, with the Dragons pushing their attack that way. He is able to find the line. Valentine Holmes paying $2.35 currently to score a try. With try scores, you definitely want to shop around the different betting companies. There's generally, compared to the head-to-head odds, there's generally a lot of fluctuation across the different bookmakers as to what prices they have for players to score a try. So you want to make sure you're always getting the best possible value that you can. For the Rabbitohs, the one player I did shortlist was Campbell Graham. So he plays right center for the Rabbitohs, which was one of their worst positions last season. But Campbell Graham does have a very, very good record against the Dragons. He scored 5 tries across his past 5 games and scored a try in 4 of the 5. However, if we look through here, last season, he did miss the entirety of the 2024 season. So we can kind of ignore this number here. That's for sure. And as I said, he does have a good record against the Dragons, and I'm sure he's definitely keen to get a try on the board back in the team this year. He's paying $2.80 currently, so he's on my short list as well. Then we have the Cowboys versus Sharks. Now, for the Cowboys, there's no one I'm really interested in at all. The Sharks are a very good defensive side across the board. I think the Sharks win this game. And the Cowboys' attack last week against Manly was really, really bad. And the Sharks are a much better defensive side than the Seagulls. So it's not ideal for them. They should improve a little bit off that performance, surely, and back at home. But they don't have a good record against the Sharks either, which we spoke about in the betting trends video. For the Sharks, though, I have 4 players shortlisted. Now, once again, I'm not going to be backing all 4 of these players. We'll definitely take 1, maybe 2 of them. Firstly, on the right wing for the Sharks, we have Sam Stonestreet at $1.77. Think the Sharks should push most of their attack towards their right-hand side, as that's where the Cowboys' defense is a lot worse. And Sam Stonestreet has a very, very good record of consistently crossing 4 tries. And against the Cowboys, he has scored a try in his only game against them, which was earlier last season. But if we look at his player trends of scoring tries, last year he didn't get a game in most games because obviously he's the backup winger for the Sharks, but did score a try in 83% of games last year. So was very, very consistent. And with the Sharks pushing their attack that way, should get plenty of opportunities. Also considering the right center for the Sharks in Jesse Ramian, paying $3.20 to score a try in this game. Scored against the Panthers and scored the Sharks' first try of the season. So he got off to a strong start from that perspective. Is a player who kind of more so sets up tries as opposed to scores them himself, because you have, the winger out there, plus Britton Nickera also gets right out on that edge and cuts back in. So he sets up tries for Nickera as well. For Ramian last season, he scored 7 tries and scores a try in 29% of games. So do think at the current price about $3.20, it's probably about right without there being a great deal of value in the market. Also for the Sharks, Ronaldo Mulitalo on the left wing. If the Sharks are, using both sides of the field, not pushing too much attack towards the right edge, then obviously it brings Mulitalo into play a fair bit. Not super consistent in scoring, but has a very good record against the Cowboys. He has scored 7 tries across the past 5 games and scored in each game. So it has been very consistent. He's only paying $1.60, which I think is a little bit short. Was expecting to see more, the $1.70, $1.75. So I think it's just a touch of unders, and it is shorter than that at other places. But you obviously have to factor in he has a good record against the Cowboys. Early last season was very, very consistent. Scored 8 tries across his first 6 games. And then again, was consistent late in the season when missing a few games through injury. But did score a try in 52% of games and a total of 17. Once again, I feel just a little bit short, but with his record against Cowboys, probably deserving. And then the one other consideration is in the front row for the Sharks. So they scored the third most tries for front rowers last season, and the Cowboys conceded the second most of all sides to opponent front rowers. So I think that definitely brings Adam Fanua-Blake into play here for the Sharks. He's paying $3.60 to score a try in this game. He did score against the Panthers in round one and has scored each of his last two against the Cowboys. So this is a good situation for him, especially against this Cowboys defense, which loves to concede tries. The other Sharks front rowers likely definitely won't score. So he's probably the only one, that fits the criteria and does score a try in 33% of games. So at 360, is one that I'm very, very strongly considering. And then the Raiders versus Broncos down in Canberra. For the Raiders, I think they would need to push a lot of their attack towards their right-hand side, which is where the Broncos last season were terrible. And, they did concede 2 tries through the opponent right winger last week. However, Xavier Savage is out for the Raiders this week. If he was in the team and we're getting at least $1.90, then I probably would have backed him. But with him not being in the side, then I'm just going to leave any try score bets for the Raiders out. For the Broncos, the 2 players have shortlisted. They're both at the top of the market. First of those is Selwyn Cobbo's coming off 3 tries last week against the Roosters. He's currently paying $1.67, which I don't think is a bad price. Against the Raiders, he scored a try in each of his 4 games against them and a total of 6 tries across those 4 games. So that's very, very good for him. The slight concern is the Raiders defend wingers very, very well. Only the second least, number of tries to opponent wingers last season, which definitely concerns me a little bit. But, if the Broncos are pushing their attack to that right side, then Cobbo is likely to cross, and he does have a good record against them. And then the other option is Reece Walsh at fullback. Once again, he also has a very good record against the Raiders, 3 tries across the past 2 games, scoring in each of those 2. And he did cross for a try in the game against the Roosters. We'll bring him up here. Did score that 1 try, scores a try in 73% of games. And I think kind of the thing with Walsh is if he makes a line break, he's going to dummy and try and beat the fullback before giving the offload for the most part. So, he's always definitely trying to make sure he scores a try himself. So at $1.75, he's my other option in that game. Probably just go with one of the 2 once I make my decision closer to game time. Everything that I bet is all posted in the NRL Best Bets membership. So if you want to follow along there, definitely worthwhile doing so. I'd love to have you a part of that right throughout the season. In there is all my NRL bets for the full game and also everything that I end up backing for the try scorers and the staking so that you can follow along with the whole strategy right throughout the season. Hopefully this video gave you the insight into how to choose your try score bets and some of the different factors to look at when doing the research to make sure you're making the best possible bets. Remember, I'm not going to be backing every one of these try scores. I'm going to go through and determine which ones I'm most confident in as we get closer to game time. And also, as we see a few of these teams play the earlier games, then make decisions for the later games because we only have that 1 game so far this season, to make decisions off. All the data you're looking at here is from the 2024 season. And after round 3, I'll be updating it all with 2025 data because right now, if I adjusted it just for the current season, then these numbers will be majorly skewed based on teams who've had played good teams and teams who played bad teams. So I always wait to just get more data before having that as my core. And obviously we already know in our head, who scored the tries in these early games. So you can kind of have that bit in your memory as well. But if you are somebody who's never bet on the NRL using statistics, which, is probably the case for a lot of people because currently the amount of NRL statistical data that's available is very, very slim, then I definitely recommend you start using it and try out the bet finders if you're researching your own bets, because being able to make decisions with the statistics will lead you in the direction of a lot better bets, which ultimately lead to more profit overall in the season. It's a lot more fun betting on the NRL when you're profiting as well. And looking forward to the games is way more exciting when you know that you're consistently profiting on those games. And you're not just hoping that this weekend is different and then you get that one win that pumps you up for the weeks ahead. Knowing that you're always profitable is way more exciting. Then you also have money to go spend on whatever you want to spend it on. So thanks guys for watching. Good luck this weekend. Thanks for following the channel. If you want more videos like this, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for more previews throughout the season.